I managed a $100 million portfolio for a real estate company that generated over $15 million per year in revenue. And during that time, I spent thousands of hours talking to top real estate professionals in the world. And what I noticed is that they all obeyed the same 7 laws in order to make their millions. And in this video, I'm going to reveal the exact 7 laws of real estate that allows literally anyone to generate millions of dollars in revenue. If you break any of these laws, you are leaving millions of dollars on the table. How do I know? Because I've implemented these 7 laws into my own new luxury villa rental business. And we've been able to go from 0 to 1.1 million in revenue in just 7 months. By the way, if you want to start your own luxury villa rental business, click the link below to learn how I can guarantee you make $10,000 in the first 90 days without owning any properties. The first law, cash flow is king. Well, basically anything in real estate, you are needing cash. If you want to fix and flip, you need cash. If you want to start your traditional Airbnb arbitrage, you need cash. Even if you want to go to the traditional route, buy a piece of property, fix it up, rent it out, just wait and refinance it, you need cash. You need cash to start. But over here, we're talking about a different type of cash flow. We're talking about the cash flow that doesn't really come out of your pocket. It's the cash flow that is in necessarily other people's pockets. It's the cash flow that incentivizes the homeowner to keep their homes off market. Why would a homeowner want to keep their home off market? Well, basically, you are incentivizing the homeowner with many bookings that incentivizes them to hold on to the property longer. What people do not realize is that real estate is a long game. When people tell you that you could buy a house, flip it, and then make tens of thousands of dollars in the flip, that is absolutely true, but it takes a long time. Real estate is a long game. You've noticed that in real estate, the longer you hold on to a property, the more you can make with it when you sell it, because it just naturally accumulates and rises in property value. So the whole purpose of real estate, the long game, is make as much money as you can and hold on to the property as much as you can. The easiest way that I could see to hold on to a property and doing it and incentivizing a homeowner to keep their property off market is by giving them proper cash flow. Now, one of the things that I ask homeowners when I bring on their properties into my portfolio is ask them, what is their cost? How much does it cost for them to carry the property? Usually the cost is around $5,000 per $1 million value. Well, I don't know what it's like in other parts, but in Florida, it's usually that amount. And I'm talking mortgage, property taxes, every single expense that they need to pay in order to keep the property afloat. What is their cost? Now, what I tell them is real estate is a long game. So I'm going to make you as much money as possible, but my goal for you is to cover your mortgage. Anything over that is fun money. It's fun coupons. It's something that's not really required, but at the same time, it's something that's going to be amazing. Now, I'm not going to promise that I'm going to give you a lot of fun coupons, but I'm going to say that I want to cover your costs and give you some. That's what I go for. The whole purpose of cash flow is to incentivize the homeowner to keep the property off market. Keep the property in your portfolio for as long as possible. You're incentivized because you're going to make a lot of money off the property without having to put any money down, without having to own any property. And the homeowner is incentivized because he actually owns the property and he's making money in the immediate, and he's also going to make a lump sum of money when he sells it down the line. Now, this is exactly why cash flow beats looking successful. A lot of people get distracted by the, I own 10 properties, I have $5 million in real estate, my house appreciated 30%. But in reality, the 10 properties that you own is losing money every month. You could have a $5 million portfolio and still be cash poor. And you could have massive appreciation and not be able to access it. Cash flow, on the other hand, is something that you incentivize the homeowner. It pays them monthly, it gives them freedom and accessibility, it lets you survive downturns, and the obvious, funds give you ability to scale. One of the clearest proofs of this law comes from a moment almost every serious operator experiences. You take on a luxury rental, maybe it's been sitting on the market for too long, maybe it's been underperforming as a long-term rental, the owner isn't getting what they expected. You step in and reposition it. You bring in high-end guests, implement professional management, and you introduce the concept of short-term rentals. Within weeks, the property starts producing consistent bookings at premium nightly rates and clean, predictable income. The owner who originally wanted to sell is now seeing monthly statements that outperform their previous expectations. Not hypothetical appreciation and not a future sale. Real cash is hitting their account. And the conversation changes. It turns into, maybe I shouldn't sell this, and what would this look like at scale? Then the villa is taken off market. That's why cash flow isn't just king. It's the whole game. Law number 2, money loves speed. In real estate, especially as something as fast moving as luxury villa management, speed is not just an advantage, it is survival. The people who make the most money aren't always the smartest or the most experienced. They're the ones that move first, test fast, and adapt faster than anyone else. Opportunities in real estate do not sit around and wait for you to feel ready. The best villas get taken quickly. The best partnerships get locked up early. And the best markets get saturated quickly. If you hesitate, someone already signed the lease, someone else builds the relationship, and someone else captures the demand. By the time you figure it out, the easy money is already gone. Money flows to whoever moves first with conviction. Every single real estate strategy goes through phases. The growth phase, more people enter, but the profits are still strong. Saturation, competition increases and margins shrink. And finally, the decline. Strategy weakens and only the top operators survive. So what's the problem? Most people recognize the opportunity too late and leave too late. Take the rise of short-term rental arbitrage through platforms like Airbnb. Early adopters were printing money. Low competition, high demand, minimal regulation. The most basic setups were generating serious cash flow. Then what happened? Everyone rushed in, markets became saturated, cities started adding restrictions, guests became more selective, and the cost renting, cleaning, furnishing increased. Now, there are operators who scaled too aggressively, didn't adapt their model, and ignored changing market conditions. And they're breaking even, or worse, sitting on high fixed costs or losing massive amount of money. Not because the strategy never worked, because they moved too slow to adjust when the cycle changed. This is where most people fail. They think that speed only matters when starting. But in reality, speed matters even more when margins are shrinking, regulations change, and guest expectations evolve. If you don't pivot fast, the exact thing that was making you money becomes the exact thing that drains you. This is exactly why I shifted into luxury villa management. It is not saturated. The only saturated properties on Airbnb are small 4-bedroom homes. There is absolutely rising competition in low to mid-tier homes and compression in pricing. But at the same time, growing demand for high-end villas. There's obviously less competition in the luxury tier, and there's higher margins with better positioning. That was the exact signal that I needed to make the move. This isn't about chasing something new. This is about shifting your perspective on where the market's going. Do you want to become a small little Marriott, or do you want to become an Aman? Do you want to go after the general population, or do you want to do the same work and make more money by going after the luxurious stays, the luxurious villas? This is about recognizing where the market is going before it's obvious to everyone else. Money loves speed because by the time something feels safe, the opportunity is already gone. Law number 3 is never stop learning. Honestly, this applies to anything and everything in life. But in real estate, the moment you think you figured it out, you've already fallen behind because the game never stays still. Markets shift, strategies evolve, and most importantly, technologies evolve on how people actually find their deals. The operators who win long-term aren't the ones who knew the most from the start. They're the ones that kept learning while everyone else got comfortable. Some of the most successful real estate veterans I personally know do not slow down their learning. they actually double down on it. I've seen people who own 15 to 20 properties do things that most people would never expect. A traditional long-term landlord starts studying short-term rental platforms like Airbnb and completely repositions a few units to triple revenue. An older investor who originally bought only single-family homes now shifted into multifamily underwriting and closing larger deals. And most importantly, a high net worth owner hires young operators to understand branding, pricing algorithm, and guest experiences. And not because they had to, it's because of something critical. What got them here won't get them to the next level. There's a specific moment that separates average operators to elite ones. It usually looks like this. A veteran has a system that worked for years. Buy a property, rent it long term, collect steady income. Then the market changes. Rents plateau, costs rise, returns compress. And at that point, they have two choices: defend the old way or learn the new way. The ones who choose option number 2 unlocks an entire new stream of income, sometimes making more from one optimized property than 3 unoptimized ones. Continuous learning is not just tactical. It shows up as entering new geographic markets before they get hot, understanding new rental strategies like luxury villa rentals versus Airbnb, adopting technology like pricing tools, automation systems, better listing optimization. In today's world, something as simple as better photos, better copywriting, better pricing strategy can dramatically outperform someone who's experienced but outdated. There is a danger to refusing to learn. This is where it gets real. The biggest losses in real estate do not usually come from beginners. They come from experienced people who stopped adapting. You see operators who dismiss new opportunities as trends, ignore changes in guest behavior, and refuse to learn new systems or platforms. Then slowly their margins shrink, their occupancy drops, their properties underperform, not because they're bad at real estate, but because they're playing the old version of the game. This is exactly what happened with basic Airbnb arbitrage. Early on, simple setups worked. Demand was easy, competition was low. Now, guests expect design and experiences. Listing needs branding. Operations need precision. The people who kept learning evolved into higher end, better positioned operators. And the ones who didn't, they're wondering why something used to work and doesn't anymore. Learning is not optional in this space. It's a competitive advantage. It allows you to pivot before you're forced to. This is why you never stop learning, because in real estate, you either evolve with the new systems or you get replaced by someone who did. Law number 4 is always expect the unexpected. No matter how clean a deal looks on paper, real estate never goes according to plan. Especially in luxury villa rentals, you're dealing with high-end properties, high expectations, and high operating costs. There are simply more variables and more things that can go wrong. On paper, it always looks smooth. Strong projected revenue, solid occupancy assumptions, clean expense estimates. Then reality hits. A guest damages something that's expensive, a cleaner cancels last minute before a same-day check-in, slow season hits harder than expected, a platform changes their algorithm, and a city introduces new restrictions. None of these are rare. They are guaranteed to happen at some point, and I've personally been through it myself. This is exactly where most people fail. It's not about finding new deals, but in surviving volatility. If you overestimate revenue, underestimate expenses, and have no financial buffer, 1 or 2 unexpected hits can erase profits for months, put you at a negative cash flow, or even worse, force you to shut down entirely. And this is why so many operators disappear as quickly as they started. This is exactly where the first law, cash flow is king, comes back into play. Strong cash flow is not only about making money. It's about absorbing shocks. When a deal is truly solid, you have margins for mistakes. You can handle slow months. You can reinvest into fixing problems quickly. Cash flow gives you decision-making power, breathe room, and staying power. Without it, every single unexpected problem becomes a potential exit. When something goes wrong, it isn't if, it's how fast can you fix it? And that's where most new operators struggle. They haven't seen that problem before. They don't know the solution, or they lose time figuring it out. In this game, time kills deals just as fast as bad numbers. The fastest way you handle the unexpected isn't guessing. It's having access to people who've already dealt with worth it. Operators who grow quickly usually have mentors, experienced partners, or a network of people ahead of them. Because when something breaks, they don't panic, they recognize the issue, apply a proven fix, and move on quickly. What might take weeks for a beginner to figure out gets solved in hours. This isn't just about avoiding the problems, it's about compressing the learning curve. Because the truth is, you will run into issues. You will face situations that you did not plan for. And the only question is, do you fix it slowly and more expensively, or quickly with guidance? Because in this business, it's not the deal that determines your success. It's about how you handle everything that wasn't supposed to happen. Law number 5, control the experience, control the price. In luxury villa management, you're not in the business of renting out a space. You're in the business of selling a feeling. 2 villas could be in the same location, same size, and have the same features. One could charge $800 a night, the other one could charge $2,500 a night. The difference? Experience. When you reach this level of guests, they're not comparing square footage. They're asking, how does a place make me feel? Does this place look like a vacation I'd like to show off? And is this worth the premium? That comes down to 3 simple things: design, amenities, and service. If you can control those 3 things, you can control the pricing. Most operators compete at low pricing. It's just a race to the bottom of pricing. Top operators increase perceived value so they can charge more. That's how you could attract better guests, reduce problems, and increase margins without increasing workload. Because in luxury, perception is profit. Law number 6 is relationships unlock the best deals. If you're looking at public listings, you're already too late. The best villas never get posted, never get advertised, and never get seen by the average operator. They move through relationships. Your biggest win can come from people, not platforms. A real estate agent that brings you an off-market listing. An owner who trusts you to generate income. Cleaners and staff who refer you new properties. And vendors who connect you through their network. Just one strong relationship could lead to multiple properties, multiple deals, and access to new opportunities. That's why this is a competitive advantage. Anyone can scroll listings. Few people could build networks. And in this space, the better the property, the higher the nightly rate, and the more relationship driven it becomes. Law number 7 is the one that takes you to the next level. It's scale systems, not effort. Hustle might get you your first villa, but it will never get you 5, 10, or a real portfolio. In the beginning, I did everything. I messaged guests, I coordinated the cleaners, I adjusted pricing, I handled issues, and it works until it doesn't. Actually, today was the day that I hired my first property manager because I realized that I became the bottleneck and I started slipping on items and I felt like I was stalling on my growth. But the real growth comes from systems, not effort. You create SOPs and you standardize guest communication, cleaning workflows, pricing, and bookings. Now, instead of managing chaos, I'm now managing a machine. Now, the outcome is more properties with no stress, consistent guest experience across all units, and predictable income at scale. Because if your business depends on you, it is not a business, it's a job. If you made it to the end of this video, I wanted to thank you for watching. And again, if you want to start your own luxury villa rental business, click the link below to learn how I can guarantee you make $10,000 in the first 90 days without owning any properties yourself. Take care.